Hello, boxing fans. How's everyone? This is the World of Boxing according to LeRoy, episode 3. I'm LeRoy Peters. First and foremost, I would like to say congratulations to Errol Spence Jr. on his victory last night. Um, he, I didn't see the fight, I only saw clips of it, and ba- based off the boxing experts, the scorecards didn't do too much justice. They said some boxing experts had Errol Spence Jr. 119-109. So all I gotta say is that Errol fight Terrence Crawford. That's all I gotta say about that. If you're the baddest man in the welterweight division, prove it. Fight Terrence Crawford. Other than that, I would like to talk about a boxer. I'm going to do a little biography and a little history lesson. I want to talk about a boxer named Nicolay Valuev. He's what you call a forgotten heavyweight champion. This December 17th will be 15 years since he won a portion of the heavyweight title. He won the WBA heavyweight title by defeating John Ruiz. He's the first Russian and the tallest man and the heaviest man to become heavyweight champion of the world. Um, he was 7'2", weighed 323 pounds at the time, and he wasn't the of best heavyweight champion I've ever seen, but he wasn't the worst. And his career was from 1993 to 2009. So I'm going to talk about him throughout. I'm also going to talk about the impact and his legacy that he had in boxing, especially in the heavyweight division. Um, he was born in St. Petersburg, Russia, on August 21st, 1973. His parents were below average height. They were like 5'5", and so he was an anomaly. It's safe to say he was an anomaly, but he had a happy childhood according to him. By the time he was 11 years old, he was 6'6" and in 1993, at the age of 20, he turned pro. Um, from 1993 to I think the early 2000s, like I never even heard of him. I don't think a lot of people in the boxing community ever heard of Nicolay Valuev because his promoters and his trainers at the time promoted him as some sort of circus show, a science show. They mostly pitted him against tomato cans, and so he was like under the radar for a while. But it wasn't until I think 2000 he met Manuel Gabriel, an Armenian boxing trainer, who took him under his wing. And around I think 2003, he got with German promoter Wilfred Sutherland. Both men saw something in him that other people did not. And before long, he was fighting some good contenders, and he was also undefeated. So it's not like he had a bad record, but he started stepping up, fighting some good fighters, and then around 2004, that's why I first heard of him. It was around this time Vitaly Klitschko was the WBC heavyweight champion, and I think there could be any fighter taller than Vitaly Klitschko, who's 6'8" and fought at 250 pounds. But I remember when I was stationed in Okinawa and I was looking up on Fight News. That's where I first heard and saw Nicolay Valuev. And this dude was like 7'2", over 320 pounds. I'm like, wow. And it would be amazing if he became heavyweight champion. Then he got a title shot at John Ruiz, who's the first Latin American heavyweight champion. It was December 17th, 2005, and he beat Ruiz by 12-round majority decision, and to win the WBA heavyweight title. Like I said, he was the first Russian and the tallest and the heaviest heavyweight champion ever. And I think what was so unique about that is that what happened after that, the aftermath, because a lot of people started like right after Valuev won that version of the title. Um, there was a domino effect. A lot of Eastern European fighters were beating American fighters for each portion of the heavyweight title. For example, on April 1st, Sergey Ligovich of Belarus beat Lamon Brewster for the WBO heavyweight title. This was 2006. 2 weeks later, Vladimir Klitschko of Ukraine defeated Chris Bird for the IBF heavyweight title. And the when by that, so when you had 3 out of the 4 heavyweight champions were from Eastern Europe, former Soviet republics, many of the boxing community started to take notice. One boxing reporter said, "What in the name of Ivan Drago is going on here?" So then August 13th, 2006, Hasim Rahman, the WBC heavyweight champion of Baltimore, Maryland, was facing Oleg Moskayev of Kazakhstan. And long story short, Kazakhstan, Moskayev beat Rahman by 12-round knockout to become the WBC heavyweight champion. So from December of 05 to August of 06, fighters from the former Soviet republics made a complete sweep of the heavyweight division. And that was one part of Nicolay Valuev's impact on the heavyweight division in boxing. And because he was the first one to do it. Another thing I think that he had a lasting impact is that around when he started, around that time, there weren't a lot of Eastern European fighters in boxing, far as I can remember, other than the Klitschko brothers, Vasily Girov in the cruiserweight division, Thomas Adamek, Andrew Galata. And I didn't even heard of Oleg Moskayev till Hasim Rahman fought Lennox Lewis, because I know Moskayev had a victory over Rahman a couple of years before Rahman fought Lennox Lewis. So, and even then, Moskayev looked like he was on the downside of his career because he got knocked out by lesser fighters. So there weren't that many Eastern European fighters in boxing, and those that were considered probably another great white hopes who turned out to be great white dopes. Even the Klitschko brothers were, I know when Vitaly Klitschko won the WBC heavyweight title, his brother got knocked out by Lamon Brewster, and Vitaly was also having injuries, he was having injuries, so he was forced to retire from boxing in 2005, around the same time Valuev won the WBA heavyweight title. So, um, so Nicolay Valuev was still a curiosity at this time, even though he won the title. Then he defended it. He defended it twice in 2006. First in against Owen Beck in June. Then he made his HBO debut in October of 2006 against Monty Two Guns Barrett, and that was in Chicago on HBO. It was October 6th, 2006, and to this day, that's also a point of history in the making, because that's like the largest weight disparity, because Monty Barrett was 6'2", no 6'3", and he weighed 222 pounds, a good 222 pounds, while Valuev weighed 328. So Valuev outweighed Barrett by 106 pounds. And since then, there's never been, that's like the largest weight disparity in a boxing match, period. No fight has come close to that. Valuev beat Barrett by 11th round TKO, and even though it was a sloppy fight, Valuev looked like he could go another 10 rounds. He looked like he barely broke a sweat, and and I was a little impressed with his stamina, because 300, no matter how tall you are, 328 pounds, that's a lot of weight to carry for almost 12 rounds. But Valuev looked like, by the time the fight was stopped, Valuev looked like he'd go another 10 rounds when he beat Barrett. In fact, Barrett looked like he was almost out of breath by the 5th round. So Valuev would lose the heavyweight title to another Russian, Ruslan Shagayev, in April of 2007. After that, he changed trainers, and then in 2008, he fought John Ruiz again in a rematch for the vacant WBA heavyweight title, and beat Ruiz again, this time by unanimous decision, making him a 2-time heavyweight champion. And he would defend his title one more time against Evander Holyfield before losing the title to former cruiserweight champion David Hay I think it was November 2009. And it was around that time Valuev decided to retire from boxing because he had surgery on his legs due to health problems. But even though he wasn't around or well known much in the boxing community, he did leave a lasting impact. Not, surprising a lot of people don't talk about him very much, and when they do, it's not in a positive light because a lot of people thought that he was a sideshow. I think the fact that he was co-promoted by Don King had a lot to do with it. Like I said, he wasn't the best fighter. I think the Klitschko brothers would have beaten him, but he did leave an impact, and especially for Eastern European fighters, because around the time he retired, you saw a lot of Eastern European fighters turning pro, but not just in the heavyweight division, but in the lighter weight division, turning pro. Guys like Sergey Kovalev, Artur Beterbiev, Vasily Lomachenko, Triple G, and Alexander Voznik, et cetera, et cetera. And today, you see, and he, you see a lot of them are still fighting today and become megastars in boxing. I think Valuev and guys like Valuev kind of opened the doors for that. Because before that, like I said, there weren't that many fighters of Eastern European descent. The fact that he's the tallest and heaviest man to become heavyweight champion, um, that record hasn't been broken. At 7'2", 323 pounds, that record has not been broken as of yet. And he's a two-time heavyweight champion. So I think he was very curious to look at. I thought he was a very interesting fighter, and like I had as a boxing fan, I had no complaints what I saw. Um, w- when so that's all I got to say about today. That's all I got to say about Nikolai Valuev and his impact. And this this I'd like to thank you for your time. This is the world of boxing according to LeRoy. I'm LeRoy Peters, and I hope to see y'all next week with a. I'll have another boxing clip. Y'all be safe and continue to wear your masks. Take care.